Hey there, guys. Welcome to Executive Espresso, and thank you for bearing with me. I know that we're running about 13 minutes late. You know, every time there's an update on software, things change, and boy, oh boy, did they change today. But no worries. I'm here with a great cup of espresso. I hope you guys have something tasty to drink because we've got a really tasty guest today. And with me on the show during this 18 minutes. And yeah, come to the bottom of the hour, guys, we're going to wrap it up. But we do these every Friday, and it's really at the intersection of innovation, entrepreneurship, business, and psychology. Of course, one of my favorite things. And today we have JourneyMan, who is a business psychology aficionado. And his studies, has led him deep into the world of business and trying to understand how businesses and entrepreneurs and some of those, weird crypto guys really leverage the psychology of human behavior. He's a digital flaneur, and he kind of wanders through those crypto vaults and digital streets and just kind of observes and brings us some what I would call shoe leather based, walking around on information to help us understand some difficult things. And he has a wonderful story for you guys today. So let me bring JM on. And JM, thank you for being here today. How's your morning going so far? Oh, JM's frozen up. See, I told you. Technological difficulties. So let me see if he can catch back up here while I'm telling you some more about him. And so he's a bit of a health and wellness skeptic. He's really not afraid to challenge some of those common health practices out there, and he kind of works on creating a mindset that values critical thinking. That's one of my favorite things, is not swallowing information whole. And speaking of swallowing information whole, JM's back with us. JM, can you hear us? Are you with us? You're way up there in Ottawa, I think, is it, in Canada? Yeah, the Canada connection's not too great this morning. JM, are you able to hear me? Uh-oh. We can hear you. Jam, are you still with me? I think we're having a few connection problems. Guys, my apologies. You know how it is. Let's give him a moment, see if he can get caught up here. Jam's really kind of a digital philosopher. He's really carved out quite a niche, as some of you guys know that follow him. And I think he's trying to come on here. Jam, are you okay to go? Oh my, we may have to do this at another date. Yep, we've got another language going. Yeah, up there. Okay, he's going to try to log back in here. I'll bring you back on here in just a minute. He actually has a whole journey where he's sharing on. Okay, here he's ringing in. JM, are you with us?
There we go. Yes, what happened there? It got frozen there for a second.
Yeah, we're just here talking behind the mic about you. But I was telling them that you've had quite the journey on X. You're a digital flair. You kind of wander through those crypto vaults trying to figure out new tips, tricks, and techniques. But tell me, what would you say, how did you get involved in the whole journeyman persona on X? Where'd all that come from?
Oh, that's actually been with me for a while, Doc. Even before X, to be honest, I have always kind of said the words journey and boom all the time. It was just, and I didn't even subconsciously, consciously know I was saying them. It's just something that I did. Like back when I first started working, I had this emerging leaders seminar that my work sent me to at one point, and they had us made an introduction video of who we are and what we do, and kind of I was just making a funny video, and I said the words journey and boom then too. It's just been with me forever, and then randomly started on X because I just wanted to figure out how to become more of a an influencer at the start, but that kind of just, evolved into some different. And the word just stayed. So I was like, okay, journey, and then I'll just stick with that.
You
So,
know, one of my favorite posts that you did is it shows you in these flowing robes and you're like walking through the desert or something.
oh my God. Oh, that wasn't what I didn't do that one. That was actually Dr. Vox. She made
Oh,
a AI kind of image of me doing it. And I just reposted it because it was so cool because I was just leaving most of whatever I had in my past behind and then walking forward. That's what I thought it
I
was pretty
love
cool.
it. That's fantastic. Well, let's dig into it here real quick, the time we have left. So, what's the most shocking thing that you can tell us about crypto?
Uh b- I'm Bitcoin only, Doc. So I don't crypto isn't Bitcoin isn't crypto for me. Um, most shocking thing I've found is that well, I mean, yesterday Apple released this statement saying that they're going to do tap to pay payments with Bitcoin. You have a bunch of nation states that are incorporating Bitcoin, and you have uh, something that's basically digital property. And if you can combine, economics with essentially energy that can be transferred without losing any power or without losing any value, then you have digital energy, right? And that would probably be an innovation in traditional TradFi economics, which is, I would say, fairly important. Like back when, Galileo was trying to figure out what shape the Earth was or what shape the solar system was or stuff like that. You had a tool like the telescope which helped you figure it out. So you needed something or a tool to innovate your worldview in order to figure out what's happening somewhere else, right? And I think of it the same way. You need Bitcoin, which is a tool to incorporate energy into economics and then innovate economics the same way. So you go take off the guessing game out of most of the things, and then you start figuring out the dynamics and the view of what the ecosystem looks like, really. So the
So,
most shocking thing for me was just energy combined with economics.
wow, that's fascinating. It's no secret that you think it's here to stay. It's here with us. It's inevitable. We're all going to be using Bitcoin eventually.
Eventually, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, everything has a utility, right? Uh, at the moment, store of value. Sure, a lot of people are holding on to it. I've heard arguments where people say, "Oh, it could have hoarding effects," but everybody has utility, right? Everybody has utility to do something. Eventually, as you have more adoption, you'll have more utility for it, and you'll probably be able to use it, and you'll probably be able to keep it. But I think of it right now as the same as real estate, but more like digital real estate, right? So if you have your house, your utilities that you live in it, but but people can sell it if they want to. People can exchange it if they want to. Um, it just based on how much adoption occurs and where it goes, really.
That's amazing because I never thought of it that way. That it's like real estate, and you know what they say about real estate? They're not making more of it, and so
Yeah,
literally with Bitcoin, they're not making more of it.
you can't, right? There's only 21 million.
That's it, man. It's capped out. So get your share of it. Where do you see business? Kind of skipping tracks here. Where do you see business and social media 10 years from now? You think it's going to be much different, the intersection of business and social media in a decade?
uh, well, I mean, I don't think business models have really changed since the past, right? You did the same kind of marketing when we didn't have the internet, right? But it was just a slower form of, distributing the information or finding the market. Then you had the internet, which was just a faster spread of information to do the exact same thing. I mean, you see a bunch of marketing books or business books that say the same psychology of selling things, uh, but now on the internet, right? And it's just a faster spread of information. So, di- I'd say businesses and psychology with the transformation of the internet, or even with the transformation of Web3 or even crypto, the psychology of selling might still stay the same, but you might just have faster ways of doing it. Uh, in my mind, I don't think the traditional foundation really ever changes of things. It's just the way that you utilize it or the way that you do it changes. So, uh, you see many books, right? Just ways to sell or a way to do a business. They keep the foundation of how to actually do it the same, but the method that they use to do it is different, and that changes based on the time, I
I
guess.
love that because that takes us all the way back to the Gutenberg printing press, where there was business before paper, and people are doing business every day. An exchange of value,
Yeah,
a hoarding of value, a storing up of value. And I guess with the printing press, we just learned to do it a different way. And then along comes, Marconi and radio. And then along comes, Alexander Graham Bell and Alex changed things up for us. And now I guess that the internet was a different format of that. And then social media is a different format of that. And I guess some
exactly.
people adopted it very, much more quickly. I think I don't know. What do you think? Most folks know of a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and I think that Gary really was a quick adopter and a demonstrator of all the value in social media. But that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. My other question before we get to some triple shot questions is, what would be your greatest critique? You're a bit of a critic. I mean, man, you go all out. And I was telling the folks before you got here, you've got this whole, you know, what I would call a digital flaneur. There's a flair about you. It's not just an entrepreneur; it's a digital flaneur. And you're a big critic of some things. You're kind of a critic of health and wellness. You don't mind challenging commonly held notions and things like that. You've got this whole. You're kind of a sage of the nicotine saga, where you talked about kicking the habit and everything like that. But what's your put your critique hat on? What's your greatest critique if you combine modern business, crypto, because you said you're Bitcoin, not crypto, and social media? Because what I see
Ah,
on social media, I get I get 2 or 3 DMs a day about crypto. And if you'll invest in this, I'll guarantee you 30% return. And I think, well, what are you asking me for? If you can make a 30% return, man, go for it. There's no need coming to me.
I agree. To be fair, oh man, if you could make 30% off, why would you need me to do it? Exactly, right? Go do it then, right? And this, um, biggest critique in what though? In what sense? What do you want me to
Yeah, just I
critique?
mean, what do you think is number one? What's the problem of X, for example? If you open up Spaces,
Hmm.
there's a tab on your user button, on your user interface, where you can just scroll through faces, and I guarantee you, 80% of them are crypto spaces. Why is that?
Oh, I don't know. You think 80% are crypto spaces?
I didn't
Cause
count them
okay.
up, but there's a lot. There's a lot of crypto spaces. It's crypto this and crypto that, crypto the other thing. It's
So
crypto or
my
politics or some other nonsense,
yeah,
but a lot of crypto.
a lot of crypto. So my my actual critique of most of that is uh, a lot of the times, well, crypto specifically, a lot of the times you're building a quote unquote community in order to get a pump and dump scheme going. I've seen it happen a lot, but there's legitimate communities. I'm not going to say that there aren't. There's legitimate communities out there that are working on pretty decent projects. I know a few friends, like I mean Greg Lopez, right? He has his own projects. He's building his own community, but like I can't hate on the communities itself, but you really need to have your own kind of moral compass in order to figure that out, right? Like you could go into a random space with somebody shilling a bunch of crypto somewhere, and then it's up to really you and your discernment level to be able to figure out and do the research on if you really want to invest in it or not. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't or you should really. It's up to you. Me, I would always just say Bitcoin because there's no CEO, no nothing, and nothing will change. And if you do the research, you can figure out that it's a great project to be in. But
Now let's see if I understand what you're saying. So, and I'm not a crypto guy, I'm not a Bitcoin guy. I'm really low level knowledge when it comes to that, but I do see value in it. I can see
Yeah.
that it's going to be with us. So it sounds like you're saying, if I'm not wrong, that with Bitcoin there's less margin for human error and human nonsense and humans taking advantage of other humans.
Exactly. Exactly. Definitely. And when you say value, right? Well, what is value? So let's do the coffee thing, for example. You're sipping coffee. Uh, you're you're spending a certain amount of energy to sip that coffee, right? Me too, right? I don't need somebody else externally to tell me that you spent a certain amount of energy to sip that coffee, right? And it's the same way with me. You could see that I'm sipping this coffee, and you don't need somebody to tell you that I spent a certain amount of energy to sip that coffee. But like bartering, for example, back in the day, if I wanted to trade you that mug for whatever, this piece of headphone or something, right? And you didn't want that headphone at the time, at that specific moment, that trade wouldn't happen. So you needed something that had an equivalent amount of energy spent in order to exchange that trade, or to make that trade happen, right? And then you had these big kind of, you know, different companies come in telling you that, hey, that you spent energy, that this is now equivalent amount of energy, and now you can exchange it, right? Um, with Bitcoin, like, if you're talking value and energy, then it takes hash power and computational power to mine it, right? It literally takes energy to make it, or to distribute it. And I don't need somebody else telling me that it took that much energy to do it, and then we can use it as a tool to exchange. So simplistically, value for me is just the amount of energy spent, right? The amount of energy spent to do something, and do I then have inherent kind of importance on that energy for me to exchange it with something with you, right? So with different crypto projects, sure, if you have a C, like, I mean, I'm not even going to say crypto. Let's go like Facebook, for example. If Mark Zuckerberg, which he did, by the way, he just goes in a tuxedo, goes onto a surfboard in the middle of Australia and starts surfing somewhere, he's going to move the market. He's going to move the market. He's going to move the amount of stock in a positive or negative way. Now, if he were to die and somebody else were to come into his place, you don't know what that new person is going to do. You don't know if he's going to maintain the same foundations of the company. You don't know what's going to happen on the base layer. You don't know any of it, right? So you're just stuck on a pretty much guessing game. And it's the same with Web3 crypto projects. I don't like the fact that there's other people that can change the entire aspect of a business just based on who's running it, right?
So as the unknowns go up, so does the risk. As the unknowns go down, the risk goes down. And your assessment is that there are fewer unknowns with Bitcoin and more unknowns with crypto.
I would say so, yeah. Even though a lot of people say that there's a lot of unknowns with Bitcoin, but but hey, I mean, again, it's up
Well,
to
I
you
guess
to
there's a
use
lot
it.
of unknowns with everything. It's
Yeah,
still early days, I guess, with
yeah,
Bitcoin, and so there's going to be a lot of late adopters and very few early adopters, and I would guess that's the same way with any innovation, including airplanes. I remember reading about all kinds of innovations and all the naysayers that would say it would never work until it worked. So let me get on to our triple shot here. What's your current top mental struggle? What does Journeyman struggle with?
uh, family and finances.
In what
Uh,
way?
I had a lot of mortgage problems in the past,
Yeah, yeah,
um, and just banks changing up interest rates randomly, just tapping on
yeah,
their magic unicorn keyboard,
yeah. Family and
and
finances. How modern and quintessential that is. Even Journeyman, we struggle with that. It's always kind of a juggling act. What would you say is your best, biggest go-to mindset hack?
a slogan actually. Um, it be like that sometimes.
It be like that sometimes. I
Yeah.
love that. That could be a great bumper sticker. It be like that sometimes. And then finally, to kind of wrap it up, and then we'll go to your top affirmation that people can put into practice this weekend. Some journeyman wisdom for us. But first, what did you have most wrong about? Well, let's just go to Bitcoin. What did you, before you knew anything about Bitcoin, have most wrong about, and I know this is a weird combination, Bitcoin and the meaning of life?
Uh, what did I have most wrong?
Most wrong.
Um, I thought, that's a tough one, Doc. Let's see. For me, the meaning of life is energy. It's it's the base layer of everything that we do. Uh, at the beginning, before I even knew what Bitcoin was, I thought it was a scam, right? Like everybody. And I guess the biggest kind of uh, hack I'd say is that you need to step over your own ego to learn something new, right? So the biggest thing I had wrong was my ego, I would say. And I still do have that wrong a lot of the times because I have a pretty fucking big one. But you know, but, but
I wonder if your
that's the
family points that out to you.
oh yeah, they do all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, my family never misses a beat telling me how I still don't know everything. It doesn't care what initials you have in front of your name, behind your name. You still don't. There's still things to learn, and I completely agree. And thank you for sharing some new things for us to learn today. And how can folks get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
I'm exclusively on X, so
Exclusively.
exclusive. I got no social media.
Oh,
I
all
don't
in,
do
all
any
in
of
on X.
exactly, because it's a free speech platform. So if you want to get a
Wow.
hold of me, it's a quick DM or even an X call away, right? Like you called
Yeah,
me this
and
morning.
that's in the show notes at JM_speaks with 3 S's.
Two S's, two S's,
An
two
S at
S's.
the first and 2 S's at the end. Is it not? Is it not 2 S's at the end?
Two S's at the end, yeah.
Yeah,
Two
three
S's at the
S's,
end.
man. S at the first, 2 S's at the end, at JM_SPEAKSS. And let's leave the listeners with a top affirmation to really get them going into the weekend with a strong mindset.
Keep going, really. I get you with 2 words. Just keep going. Because if you're somewhere in a dark tunnel and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, why do you want to just sit down in the dark tunnel and wait there? Right? It's just a few more steps and then you're out.
Wow. I
Just
love that one.
yeah.
You're in the tunnel. It's just a few more steps. I love there's a recovery saying, don't give up the minute before the miracle happens. And so keep taking those steps. JM, thank you so much. All you guys out there listening to Executive Espresso. We will be back next Friday with another Fresh Brewed Cup at the intersection of business, psychology, innovation, entrepreneurship. Share this out with some folks. If you have questions, reach out to JM. Give us a count of follow. He is just full of entertainment, full of life, full of wisdom, and appreciate you being here. You guys have a great day.